KODY Brown arrested. Fifth wife exposed courtroom chaos as sister wives turn on him full trial shocker. Hello friends, I am Elena, welcome to my channel. For the latest news update, please subscribe the channel and press the bell icon. KODY Brown, the infamous patriarch of TLC's Sister Wives, has never been a stranger to controversy, but this time the headlines have crossed into uncharted territory. For years, fans have watched his polygamous lifestyle unravel before their eyes. From bitter disputes over finances and property to explosive arguments about loyalty and love, the family saga has provided reality television with an endless supply of drama. Yet, nothing compares to the shocking development now gripping the Brown household and the loyal fan base that has followed them since the early seasons. The news is explosive. KODY Brown has been arrested, and the courtroom chaos that follows has left both viewers and former wives stunned beyond belief. Adding to the frenzy, a so-called fifth wife has stepped into the spotlight, exposing secrets that could permanently alter KODY's life and reputation. The whispers began online when rumors surfaced of KODY being detained following a heated dispute connected to financial discrepancies and hidden family arrangements. As speculation grew, reliable sources confirmed that law enforcement was indeed involved, and KODY was facing a barrage of legal issues that extended far beyond reality TV drama. The arrest itself set off a chain reaction, bringing every unresolved conflict from his past relationships to the forefront. For years, his wives, Mary, Janelle, Christine, and Robin, had tried to manage their struggles quietly or within the framework of the show. Now, however, all those unresolved issues were spilling directly into the public eye through the trial process. What caught fans most off guard was the mention of a fifth wife, a woman who had never been publicly acknowledged on the series. This woman, reportedly connected to KODY through a private spiritual marriage arrangement, has come forward with startling accusations. According to her, KODY had not only misled his family about the depth of their relationship, but had also entangled her in financial dealings that now play a central role in the court case. Her testimony could potentially dismantle what little credibility KODY still clung to after years of family fractures. The fact that she chose to step forward at such a critical juncture has fueled endless debates. Was she a victim of KODY's manipulations, or was she motivated by revenge and the promise of publicity? Inside the courtroom, tensions reached a boiling point. With cameras capturing only fragments of the unfolding events, second-hand accounts painted a dramatic picture. KODY, once the confident head of a sprawling plural family, appeared shaken and defensive. His former wives, many of whom have distanced themselves emotionally and legally from him, seemed to align in an unspoken unity against him. Christine, who left the marriage publicly and decisively, reportedly showed no hesitation in making her stance clear. Janelle, often the more pragmatic and level-headed of the wives, appeared equally resolute in highlighting years of grievances that had been left unresolved. Even Mary, whose complicated relationship with KODY has swung between loyalty and frustration, seemed unwilling to shield him from accountability. And then there was Robin, the last remaining wife in his household, caught in the middle of the storm, visibly torn between supporting her husband and acknowledging the overwhelming evidence piling against him. Courtroom observers noted how KODY's defense seemed to falter under the combined weight of testimonies. The fifth wife's claims introduced allegations of concealed financial accounts, questionable property transfers, and a long trail of decisions that may not hold up legally. While KODY attempted to frame the situation as a misunderstanding, the mounting evidence suggested otherwise. For fans of Sister Wives, this revelation felt like the ultimate climax to years of watching his authority and influence deteriorate before their eyes. No longer could these disputes be dismissed as family matters suited for reality television. The trial positioned KODY not just as a controversial husband, but as a man potentially facing life-altering consequences in the legal system. What made the situation even more chaotic was the way the sister wives themselves interacted throughout the proceedings. Longtime viewers know that while the wives often clashed with one another, their frustrations frequently circled back to KODY's leadership, favoritism, and decision-making. In the courtroom, however, their shared grievances seemed to bind them together more than ever before. This unexpected solidarity turned the trial into something larger than a legal battle. It became a symbolic reckoning. The sister wives were no longer competing for affection, approval, or control. They were unified in exposing the truth behind years of tension and imbalance. Inside the courthouse, the media frenzy exploded. Fans, critics, and curious onlookers gathered in droves, each eager for updates on the latest shocking revelation. Social media platforms buzzed with speculation, hashtags trending worldwide as people debated Kody's guilt or innocence. Supporters argued that he was being unfairly targeted for living a lifestyle outside mainstream norms, while critics insisted that this trial was long overdue, exposing behaviors that had harmed those closest to him for years. The spectacle transformed from a family drama into a public trial about accountability, integrity, and the hidden realities of polygamy in modern America. One of the most shocking twists came when documents were introduced suggesting that the fifth wife had been living under a veil of secrecy for years, with Kody promising her legitimacy once legal and financial disputes were settled. These revelations sparked outrage among his existing wives, who felt misled and betrayed all over again. Christine reportedly expressed anger that while she was fighting for independence, Kody was secretly cultivating yet another relationship. Janelle pointed out the hypocrisy of his constant lectures about loyalty and commitment. Mary, who had long struggled with feelings of rejection and neglect, finally seemed vindicated in her complaints about being pushed aside. Robin, whose status as Kody's favorite wife had been a sore spot for the others, appeared devastated by the betrayal, realizing that she too was not immune to his hidden maneuvers. The trial continues to unfold with more testimonies expected, but one thing is clear: Kody Brown's image has suffered irreparable damage. Whether or not he is convicted of legal wrongdoing, the court of public opinion has already delivered a harsh verdict. To many, he has gone from being a reality television curiosity to a cautionary tale about ego, secrecy, and the consequences of unchecked authority within a family. His arrest, the exposure of a fifth wife, and the courtroom chaos have cemented this chapter as the most dramatic in the sister wives saga. Fans who once tuned in to watch the daily struggles of plural marriage are now witnessing the unraveling of the man who once insisted he had all the answers. As the trial moves forward, questions remain unanswered. Will the fifth wife's testimony seal his fate, or will Kody somehow find a way to navigate the storm? Will his former wives continue their united front, or will old rivalries resurface once the dust settles? And what will become of the family's legacy on TLC now that the story has spilled far beyond the bounds of scripted reality drama? Whatever the outcome, one thing is certain: the sister wives world will never be the same again. Kody Brown's arrest has shifted the narrative forever, and fans will be watching every moment of this full trial shocker. Kody Brown, the patriarch of TLC's long-running reality show Sister Wives, has always been at the center of controversy when it comes to finances, family unity, and decision-making. But nothing has stirred as much speculation and frustration among fans as his handling of the KODY Pass property and the eventual payout situation. When the Browns purchased the land in Flagstaff, Arizona, it was framed as the family's dream project, a place where each wife could build her own home and the family could once again live in unity. However, instead of becoming a dream, the land turned into a source of division, mistrust, and lingering resentment. Recent revelations suggest that Kody mismanaged the payout connected to KODY Pass, leaving two of his wives at a major disadvantage. To understand how everything unfolded, we need to revisit the original plan. The Browns invested heavily in KODY Pass in 2018, purchasing multiple parcels with the intention of splitting them equally between Kody, Mary, Janelle, Christine, and Robin. At the time, fans were led to believe that each wife would have fair access to land and equal rights to build. However, the reality was much more complicated. Financial strains, personal conflicts, and shifting dynamics within the marriages caused massive delays. The family never broke ground, and as the years went by, the dream of a united homestead slowly faded. Instead, the property became a bargaining chip in Kody's relationships, particularly as he grew closer to Robin while distancing himself from his other wives. By the time Christine decided to leave the marriage in 2021, the issue of property division could no longer be ignored. Christine openly stated that she wanted nothing to do with KODY Pass and preferred to sell her share. She felt the land was nothing but an empty promise, and given the crumbling state of her relationship with Kody, She had no desire to tie herself to the family through a property she would never use. Christine's choice forced KODY into action, but his handling of the payout raised eyebrows. Instead of equally valuing all shares and providing a fair distribution, reports and family discussions revealed that KODY appeared to prioritize certain wives, mainly Robin, while leaving Mary and Janelle in a weaker financial position. The alleged mismanagement stems from how KODY chose to value Christine's share and how he leveraged family assets to cover the payout. While Christine was able to walk away with a financial settlement that gave her the freedom to start over, Mary and Janelle were left struggling. Mary, who had been financially independent for years through her bed and breakfast business, claimed that she was sidelined when it came to conversations about the land. KODY seemed uninterested in ensuring she received equal treatment, especially after their marriage had essentially dissolved into friendship. Janelle, on the other hand, had always been one of the most invested in Coyote Pass. She had long dreamed of building her home there and even lived out of an RV on the land temporarily. Yet when the payout situation arose, she discovered that her investment was poorly protected. Instead of securing her a fair portion, KODY's decisions left her without the resources to move forward on her own build. Fans have noted that Robin was the clear beneficiary of the entire ordeal. As KODY's legal wife and the partner he prioritized above all others, Robin retained her claim to the property without issue. She and KODY lived together in a large Flagstaff home that many viewers believe was purchased at the expense of the other wives' dreams. By funneling energy and resources toward Robin's security, KODY inadvertently, or perhaps intentionally, diminished the prospects of Mary and Janelle. This imbalance has fueled speculation that KODY never truly intended to see all 4 wives living on Coyote Pass, but rather used the land as a way to keep the family financially entangled even as relationships deteriorated. The fallout from the mismanagement is most visible in Janelle's situation. She has been vocal about feeling financially stranded. After decades of contributing her earnings to the family pot, she realized that much of her security was tied up in a piece of land that might never produce a home for her. Viewers with her as she navigated this betrayal, recognizing that her loyalty to KODY and the family left her with fewer options than Christine, who boldly walked away. Janelle's predicament highlights the risks of plural marriage when finances are pooled but not fairly distributed. Despite her hard work and commitment, she ended up with the short end of the deal, largely due to KODY's mismanagement and favoritism. Mary's situation is somewhat different but equally frustrating. For years, she has felt like an outsider in the marriage, and the property issue only reinforced that perception. KODY's lack of investment in her future was glaring when he brushed aside discussions about her land share. Even though she technically retained rights, there was little support or encouragement from KODY for her to actually build or benefit. Many fans argue that Mary was emotionally and financially punished for staying loyal despite KODY's neglect. Instead of being rewarded with stability, she was pushed further into irrelevance, left to manage her own endeavors while KODY poured everything into Robin. Christine, meanwhile, emerged as the only wife who benefited. By cutting ties completely, she gained financial independence and freedom to start a new chapter in Utah. Her decision to sell her share might have seemed risky, but it ultimately allowed her to avoid the entanglements that continue to haunt Janelle and Mary. Some argue that Christine was lucky to escape when she did, while others believe KODY overpaid her share to quickly resolve the situation, further draining resources that could have been used to support Janelle and Mary. The broader implication of the Coyote Pass fiasco is that it destroyed any remaining sense of unity in the Brown family. What was supposed to be a symbol of togetherness turned into a wedge that drove the wives further apart. KODY's inability to handle the payout equitably reflects a pattern that viewers have seen for years. He tends to prioritize Robin and himself while disregarding the needs of the other wives. This favoritism not only eroded trust but also dismantled the foundation of the plural family structure. Without equality and fairness, the family model crumbled, leaving bitterness in its place. Fans continue to debate whether KODY's mismanagement was intentional or simply a result of poor planning. Some believe he never had the financial capability to deliver on his promises, while others suspect he manipulated the situation to ensure Robin's security above all else. Regardless of motive, the outcome is undeniable. Two wives, Mary and Janelle, ended up with the short end of the deal. Christine walked away with freedom, Robin maintained her privileged position, and Kody secured his own comfort, but at the expense of fairness and family harmony. As the years pass, the Coyote Pass land still sits undeveloped, serving as a haunting reminder of broken promises. What was once marketed as a fresh start now symbolizes division and disappointment. For Mary and Janelle, the payout imbalance is more than just about money. It's about recognition, respect, and the value of their decades of contributions to the Brown family. And financial setbacks. But now, something unexpected has happened. Kody Brown has just redivided the land, and for once, I believe it was not only the right move but also a genuinely gentlemanly act. Here's why I totally approve. For context, the Coyote Pass property is about 14 acres of land that Kody and his 4 wives purchased after leaving Las Vegas. The idea was that they would eventually build separate homes but live in close proximity, giving them the sense of family unity that they longed for. Over the years, however, nothing went according to plan. The relationships between Kody and his wives grew increasingly strained. Christine left. Janelle started ground. Mary was often sidelined. And Robin, who seemed to have the closest relationship with Kody, became the focal point of resentment for many viewers. With so many shifting dynamics, the original blueprint for Coyote Pass no longer made sense. That is why Kody's recent decision to redivide the land caught my attention. Instead of clinging to the old plan that no longer fit the family's reality, he reassessed the situation and made changes that reflected the current state of affairs. This, in my eyes, is not just a practical move but also a respectful one. For years, fans have accused Kody of being selfish, manipulative, and controlling. And while much of that criticism has merit, this new decision shows a side of him that I think deserves recognition. The redivision was gentlemanly because it demonstrated an acknowledgement of what his former wives went through. Take Christine, for example. She left not only the marriage but also her claim to the land. It would have been easy for Kody to simply absorb her portion into his own or give it all to Robin. But reports suggest that he tried to handle it in a way that acknowledged fairness. Janelle, who has always been the most pragmatic about money and property, also had a stake in how the land would be divided. She has expressed frustrations in the past about not having a clear say, but this time it seems like Kody listened more carefully. Even Mary, who has often been treated like an afterthought, was considered in the new arrangement. Another reason I see this as a gentlemanly act is that it reflects growth. For a long time, Kody appeared rigid in his thinking. He wanted all the wives to buy into his singular vision, even when it was obvious that not everyone was on board. By redividing the land, he showed a willingness to adapt. Adaptability, especially in a plural family that has fractured, is essential. It would have been arrogant for him to continue acting like nothing had changed, but this action suggests that he is finally accepting the reality of his relationships and taking steps to make things right. It is also important to acknowledge that property division is not just about numbers or landlines on a map. It is symbolic. When Kody redivided the property, he was also redistributing a sense of respect. He was saying, in effect, I see where each of you stands now, and I want to recognize that. That matters. For years, the women felt that their voices were drowned out by Kody's authority. A redivision is not a magic fix, but it is a gesture that carries weight. It suggests that he is trying in his own way to honor the changes in his family dynamic. Critics will argue that Kody's motives may not have been entirely pure. They might say that he did it because he had no choice, that legal or financial circumstances forced his hand, or that he is simply trying to save face. Those points are worth considering. But even if his motives were partly self-interested, the outcome still benefits the family members who have been left in limbo for too long. Sometimes intent is less important than impact. And in this case, the impact was positive. There is also the matter of legacy. Kody has often spoken about wanting to leave something behind for his children. Coyote Pass was supposed to be that legacy, but it turned into a quagmire of broken promises and stalled dreams. By redividing the land, he is at least putting the property back into motion. Kids who may one day inherit pieces of it will benefit from a clearer structure. Instead of inheriting a mess, they might actually have something more stable to hold on to. That is gentlemanly because it prioritizes the future over the bitterness of the past. Another subtle but significant reason I approve of this decision is that it shows humility. KODY has not often been described as humble, but this redivision admits that his original plan failed. It is not easy for someone in his position, used to calling the shots and demanding obedience, to admit when things need to change. By reworking the property still has a lot of healing to do with his family. His relationships with Christine, Janelle, and Mary remain complicated at best. But sometimes progress is incremental. This redivision feels like a small step toward accountability, a moment where KODY chose fairness over favoritism. For a man who has often been accused of prioritizing Robin above all else, that is refreshing to see. Fans may still debate whether KODY deserves credit for this move, but I am choosing to see it as a rare positive. In a story filled with heartbreak, jealousy, and fractured bonds, a gentlemanly act stands out all the more. By redividing the land, KODY Brown showed that he can make decisions that are not only practical but also considerate. He acknowledged the reality of his family, respected the voices of his former wives, and set the stage for a more equitable future. For once, I can honestly say that I totally approve. In conclusion, the Coyote Pass land saga has been long and complicated, but this new development is a turning point. Take a closer look at the trajectory of Sister Wives, the dynamics among the Brown family, and TLC's general approach to reality television. It becomes harder and harder to shake the feeling that KODY and Robin Brown are quietly laying the groundwork for their own spin-off. While much of the fan base has either grown tired of KODY's antics or sided with the other wives who chose independence, the possibility of a new series centered on KODY and Robin is not only realistic, it's practically inevitable. And if we follow the trail of their behavior, interviews, and choices in the aftermath of family splits, it becomes even more convincing. The foundation of Sister Wives was built on the concept of showcasing a plural marriage. Viewers tuned in to witness how one man navigated the complexities of 4 wives and 18 children. Over the years, however, the dynamic shifted dramatically. Mary became increasingly isolated, Janelle found her independence and strength, and Christine outright left the marriage, going on to live her best life publicly with her new husband. That left Robin as the only wife still legally and spiritually tethered to KODY. From a seem to crave the spotlight rather than shy away from it. While Christine is basking in her new marriage and Janelle is content with her independence, Robin has consistently been portrayed as emotional, defensive, and often clinging tightly to KODY. She has also been accused by fans of being strategic, possibly even manipulative, in how she positions herself within the family. Robin's tearful confessions, her claims of feeling victimized, and her attempts to maintain control over the narrative point to someone who does not want the cameras to go away. And KODY, though increasingly disliked, thrives on attention and validation. For him, being on television is part of his identity now. He has built his brand around being a patriarch, and losing the show would mean losing the biggest platform he has ever had. Together, they have every reason to push for is the way the narrative in Sister Wives has been slowly bending toward KODY and Robin's household. In recent seasons, the focus has shifted from plural marriage logistics to KODY's grievances and his relationship with Robin. The editing, intentional or not, positions Robin as the last wife standing. Whether fans agree with her or not, she is the focal point. That kind of shift doesn't happen by accident. It happens because producers know where the story is headed. 3 wives have already left or become emotionally disconnected from KODY, then Robin becomes the natural lead for whatever story continues. TLC has surely noticed this trend, and it makes sense for them to experiment with the idea of continuing the franchise through Robin and KODY. That TLC has a track record of milking its franchises for all they're worth. Shows like 90 Day Fiancé have spun off into a dozen different variations, each exploring one corner of the franchise. From Happily Ever After to The Other Way and Pillow Talk, TLC knows how to stretch content. KODY and Robin's spin-off would fit perfectly into that model. They could rebrand it as Life After Sister Wives or Kody and Robin, our story, focusing on the challenges of navigating life after the dissolution of a plural marriage. The spin-off could document their attempts to rebuild their family unit, repair relationships with children, or even cope with public backlash. It would be messy, dramatic, and full of the kind of content TLC thrives on. The real clincher, however, lies in Robin's constant narrative about wanting a big, happy, plural family but being forced into monogamy. That thread could easily become a storyline in a spin-off. Imagine an entire show where Robin wrestles with the guilt of being the only wife left, Kody justifies his decisions, and together they claim to be redefining their marriage. It would give TLC a new angle to explore. How does a family recover when a plural marriage collapses? Is it still possible to, or are they destined to live in isolation? Those questions practically write themselves into a new series. We should also consider Kody's personality. He is not one to walk away quietly. For years, he has justified his choices, blamed others for family breakdowns, and painted himself as a misunderstood man trying to do his best. In interviews, he often emphasizes how unfairly he feels portrayed. That is exactly the kind of energy that fuels a spin-off. Kody would leap at the opportunity to set the record straight or reclaim his image. Pair that with Robin's teary monologues about being misunderstood, and you have the makings of reality TV. Another key point is that despite fan frustration, people still watch. Ratings for Sister Wives spike whenever there's drama involving Christine leaving or Kody clashing with his children. Even if most of the audience claims they can't stand Kody and Robin, they continue to tune in if only to complain or hate watch. That kind of polarizing energy is exactly what networks want. A spin-off wouldn't need to attract universal love. It would just need to attract enough outrage, curiosity, and conversation to keep it trending. TLC knows that Kody and Robin are the couple to hate, and in today's media world, controversy sells better than wholesome content. Financial motivation also plays a role. Kody and Robin reportedly face financial struggles, particularly after the fallout of the KODY Pass drama and the cost of maintaining their large household. Without the TLC paycheck, their lifestyle could take a significant hit. A spin-off would be their lifeline. It would provide income, keep them relevant, and allow them to shape their public narrative. If survival depends on staying on TV, then pushing for a spin-off becomes not just a possibility but a necessity. Lastly, if we pay attention to Robin's subtle hints, it's almost as if she has been preparing fans for the idea. Her tearful comments about not wanting to be the only wife, her insistence that she never asked for this outcome, and her narrative of being with Kody that she sees her story as unfinished. A spin-off would allow her to continue telling that story, to shift public perception, and perhaps even to show herself as a sympathetic figure rather than the villain many fans see. In conclusion, all signs point to the very real possibility that Kody and Robin are plotting a Sister Wives spin-off. The show's premise has collapsed, the spotlight has already shifted toward them, TLC has a proven record of expanding franchises, and both Kody and Robin have every incentive to keep the cameras rolling. Whether fans love it or hate it, they would watch, and TLC knows it. At this point, the only real question is not if Kody and Robin will star in their own. When it comes to the ongoing saga of Sister Wives, the drama never seems to slow down. Even though the show has been on for years, the cracks in the once seemingly united polygamist family are becoming more visible with each passing season. The spotlight has shifted from family unity to family division, and once again, Kody Brown finds himself at the center of the storm. This time, however, things appear far more serious, because one of the stars has allegedly decided to lawyer up against him, and the claim is that there is no protection left for her within this complicated family dynamic. To understand the gravity of this situation, it's important to remember how the Browns presented themselves when the show first aired. Kody Brown, the patriarch, stood proudly at the head of his plural marriage, guiding his 4 wives, Mary, Janelle, Christine, and Robin, through what he described as a family of choice bound together by faith and love. But over the years, love has been replaced with bitterness, faith has been overshadowed by conflict, and choice has shifted into demands and ultimatums. Lawyering up is no small step, especially in a family that has spent years broadcasting their lives on television. Public perception has always mattered to the Browns, and KODY himself has long been preoccupied with the way outsiders judge polygamy. For one of the wives, or possibly even one of the adult children, to involve legal counsel signals that the disputes inside the family have reached a new level. This isn't just about arguments over property lines on Coyote Pass or disagreements over emotional neglect. This could be about something deeper, tied to financial mismanagement, emotional damage, or even disputes over children's well-being. Some speculate that financial protection is at the center of the issue. Over the years, KODY has made bold moves with the family's money, buying houses, reselling property, pushing all 4 wives to invest in the disputed land at Coyote Pass. When relationships broke down, the wives were left questioning where their investments went and what they were truly entitled to. If there's no legal safety net or clear division of assets, then lawyering up is not only a smart choice but also a necessary one. It's no surprise then that one of them might finally be taking action to ensure that they, and possibly their children, aren't left with nothing after giving